we're having a quick look here at one of our bits of kit that we use for filming. It's a very simple but very useful rig made up of a Feiyutech G5 Mark II gimbal and a fairly old GoPro Hero 3 Black. It also has a little Rode microphone attached to it. It's a very handy rig for just carting around and doing quick filming without having to get out a big camera and set up much in the way of a tripod. This particular gimbal is actually wireless capable. I've currently got it hooked up to my mobile phone, and here we have the mobile phone, and as you can see there's a little joystick on here, and as I control that it remotely operates the camera. Now this can be done on a set basis. You don't have to do it manually. You can set on the phone exactly where you want the camera to point and how long you want it to rotate. So if the microphone, which you can see there, is not attached, you can do a full 360, and you can also go right around both horizontally and vertically with this. Very useful little piece of gear. I'll just break this down now and show you exactly how everything goes together. It's a very simple rig. The gimbal comes with a little tripod you can see on there. Okay, let's set that aside. Now, this particular rig is made up of the tripod section, a center section which is a separate little piece you buy from eBay. That is actually just a piece of metal that was part of an old manual gimbal which really didn't work very well, but any piece of metal you can use to connect the two. I'll take this apart now and show you exactly how everything works. Turn the camera off, and we've got the controls on the back. And then you have another joystick here for manual operation. Left, up and down, and you have a mode button which allows you to select different modes. At the moment it's on what they call follow me mode. You can see as I turn the camera will gradually follow where I point. If I want the camera to stay in one place all the time, one click does that. It has a selfie mode and a button at the bottom here. You just press that and the camera will swing around and face you. As soon as you let go of that button, it swings back to where it was. Of course you wouldn't normally have the microphone attached in that manner to use that. The microphone specifically is actually pointed to me to get commentary. I'm not using it at the moment. I'm just using the onboard microphone for the Nikon, which is pretty awful, so I apologise in advance for the rotten sound that's going to be on this. Okay, let's break this down now. We turn that off, a long press on there, turns the gimbal off. And as you can see, that's already, even without the gimbal on, that's fairly well balanced. It doesn't flick down. There's actually a second counterweight on here, and what we've done, we've used a piece of Velcro. There's a metal clip that goes on here normally, but the problem with that basically is the screws on it are too short, and with the older GoPros, where you want to have a back screen, I don't always want to have to look at the phone. I do want to use the back screen to see what's going on, and with that on, unfortunately the Feiyutech doesn't have long enough screws to attach the metal plate, so we've just replaced that with a piece of Velcro. It's very secure, so that's not a problem. We have a little lens cap on here, by the way. That's if that happens to look a bit bigger than normal. So piece number one is the GoPro. Piece number two is this little Rode microphone that we've been trialing. We haven't had it very long. Just release that. All comes apart quite easily. We've got a dead cat on there. This little Rode microphone. Cable. And the cable is in two parts because you need a specific extension that goes onto the GoPro. The next part is bottom end of the gimbal. It will actually extend the stick when it's closed. That comes with the gimbal. And we have a number of little parts here. Buy these from eBay, very useful little device. You can set different angles, rotate it around and lock it in place. It's basically just called a tripod extension. We then have a couple of other pieces here. Oh, I've done that up a bit tight. Okay, we have another piece here, which is just the standard little tripod screw. Piece of metal and a hot shoe holder, and that's basically the rig. You can always remove the Velcro and put the metal clip back on if you don't need to use a camera with a screen, or if you have a GoPro 4, GoPro 5, etc. Particularly nice little gimbal. It has a tripod mount at the bottom, useful for putting it onto a tripod of course, but also for putting it onto an extension pole. We've got a Mogo pod which turns this into quite a long boom arm, so we can reach over to areas where we can't normally get the camera. The normal weight sits in here, and this round weight on the outside is an addition to help balance the camera up. Unfortunately with that on, it just does tip the top of the gimbal. The gimbal itself has a nice rubberized grip, has a port for recharging, so you don't have to take the batteries out and put them in a separate charger. It also has on here, if I can take it off, also has on here a port that will allow you to charge the GoPro directly from the battery in here. Now GoPro batteries are famous for running out, so that's a nice little addition so that you don't have to pull everything apart in the middle of the shoot. You just clip a little cable around to the GoPro and that will recharge from the gimbal battery. And now I'm using the gimbal, just giving you an idea of how I shot the last segment. We have the tripod mounted Nikon sitting there, and we have a new work light. As some of you may know, our old bat light died. We returned it to Bunnings, and in return we got this Hawk light. Different company, but looks pretty much the same to me. We make use of all sorts of different lights. This one's pretty useful, and we're going to blind ourselves. Torch at the top which you can't see, and some very bright lights for filming. It's very handy. Folds up and recharges now via USB, where the old one had an AC charger with it. So just another little bit of tech that we use when we're filming stuff. We have a cupboard full of junk that we use for all sorts of things. And I'm recording this now on a little Rode microphone, but again that's a fairly new addition to our filming gear. Trying to improve our sound. Hopefully you'll notice the difference now between this microphone and the one on the Nikon that I was shooting for the first part of this video. Well, hopefully you found that video useful, and if you're going to do some videoing of your own, give you some ideas for different types of kit